Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out I Don't Work Here Lady. Story 1. Security and Shoplifters. I had to go work a job site last night, which means pulling on a full uniform. I stopped by the closest Safeway on the way home. I get stopped by 4 different managers trying to tell I am not where I am supposed to be. They finally fired me for making a purchase rather than trying to stop a shoplifter. Can't wait until their actual guard shows up. Story 2. Wendy's Things. Not quite sure if this remotely qualified, but as it happened yesterday, I guess I'll share it. I was eating Wendy's during my lunch break yesterday, from the posting of this, and as I was happily eating my Baconator and listening with my headphones in, I heard my name being called. Guy, OP. I heard it as I didn't have my headphones in full blast, but I ignored it because I didn't work there and really couldn't help with anything. I think I heard it a few other times, but I focused on the Kyugra video from gym leader Matt because again, I can't help anyone at a Wendy's. I eventually stopped hearing it and went back to work with no incident. If there's anything I've learned about eating out at lunch, it's not to wear your name tag outside of work. My counter-argument is that you should use your ability to read and deduce like a normal person. Story 3. Big name home goods store collected a good deed to make up for my many faults. I live in a DIY college town and I am a semi-retired instructor from said university. At the store a young guy comes up to me and asks for some help finding a specialty light bulb. No one is around and he looks pretty desperate. Sure son, I'll look around with you for a few minutes. He shows me the bulb, a 4.5W thin cylindrical LED. I ask what the bulb is used for. Without hesitation he says it's for his girlfriend's makeup mirror. Urgency intensifies and I begin to hear doom music playing. We find the bulb, a perfect match, he says thanks and heads to the register. $5 is minimum price for the evening he is going to have. I sincerely hope. Story 4. You want to call my manager? Okay, call him. This happened over a year ago at a Walmart. For some context, on my days off I have a blue Dickies work shirt I wear whenever I go out that has pins and patches all over it as my sort of battle vest if you will. This fact means that more than once I have been mistaken as a Walmart employee, which I normally just brush off, but this dude took it to another level. So I go to Walmart to drop my car off for an oil change. I decide that I'll walk though to store since it was hot out, then across the parking lot to a fast food joint for lunch. As I am walking down one of the aisles I hear a grumpy sir from the other side over a pallet of products. I just sort of ignore it and keep walking. A quick look at me should tell you that I don't work here. But this guy walked around the pallets and gets right in front of me, all the while yelling sir at me. I stop because he's now right in front of me and pop out one of my earbuds, to which this guy starts to go off on me. Are you going to effing help a customer or just effing ignore me? You shouldn't have you hat or effing headphones on at work. He yells. I just roll my eyes and say that was rude, but no, I will not help you. I then gestured at my LAC or Walmart name badge and all the pins/patches on my shirt trying to imply that I don't work here. Well, I want to speak to your manager. You shouldn't treat customers like this. I start to pull my phone out and scroll through my contact till I find my manager. Mind you, my manager at the time was a grumpy old man from Tennessee who would take zero shit for anyone. Had this guy called my manager, he would have had his ass verbally handed to him. You want to speak to my manager? Okay. But he's going to tell you the same thing I am about to tell you. FK off. Don't yell at anyone like that. Dude is now getting more angry as I show him my manager number. Go ahead, call him. Tell him I didn't help you out. I don't work here, and it's my day off. You shouldn't be treating people who do work at this store like this. The guy just mumbled something then pushed past me and walked away, having never called my manager. The next time I was at work I told my manager this story and he got a laugh out of it, saying that he would have loved it if that guy had called him. Story 5. I don't work here but I know a lot. I own a company that, when simplified as much as possible, can be said to cut and polish rocks. Every year in January I go to a huge rock show in Arizona to purchase inventory for the rest of the year. I'm at one of my vendors' booths, and have already picked out a ton or so of rocks, and I'm waiting for them to bag them up, weigh them, and give me the bill. As I'm waiting, I see a group of people strolling by and looking at one of my favorite types of stone, called purpurite. This is a tricky stone that has to be cut a certain way, or it ends up as just a blackish blob. When cut correctly, it has a gorgeous purple flash that people love. It's clear that the others think it's neat, but that they aren't familiar with it. I walk up to them and start a conversation, asking if they know how to cut it. They say no, so I start giving them tips on how to cut it and showing them pictures and video of what it looks like when cut the correct way. They say thanks, and I go back to waiting. Shortly afterwards, I see them walking up to me with their hands full of rocks, and I have to laugh and tell them that I don't actually work there. Story 6. Just got wisdom teeth pulled. This is a while back. I'd just got my wisdom teeth pulled and my friend was driving me home. On the way I needed to go to the restroom, so he stopped at a Kmart, dropped me off at the entrance. I was wearing a red shirt so I did look like an employee. A couple of ladies came up to me and asked where something was. The issue was that during the car trip, my mouth had filled up with blood. I didn't want to swallow it, or spit it out the window of the car, or at the entrance of the store. I figured I'd spit it out when I got to the bathroom. Anyways, all I could really do for the ladies was shake my head and make an mm sound. But they didn't like that at all, and got angry real fast. They got in my face, "What do you mean you don't know?" I still hadn't completely recovered from the anesthesia, so I don't feel too bad about what I did, but I chose to give them a big smile. With my teeth all bloody and some running down my chin. I remember how their eyes bulged out, the stunned "oh my god," and how they quickly walked away. TLDR, my mouth was full of blood. I gave some indignant customers a big smile and they freaked out. Story 7. A nice old lady. I'm a healthcare worker, X-ray tech. I wear scrubs and a lanyard with my badge showing which hospital I work for. I went to Stop and Shop the other day after work as is my usual. As I was putting peppers into my cart, trolley and GB, an old lady came up to me and asked where they keep the mashed potatoes. They had just revamped the store so nothing was where I remembered it to be. I told her I'm so sorry, I don't work here, I haven't the foggiest idea. She looked sad and apologized. I'm so sorry, I'll find someone. Helping and caring for people is my life, so I took her by the arm and walked her to the little plastic directory that hangs at the end of every aisle. I looked up mashed potatoes and happily told her, mashed taters are in aisle 6. She was so happy that someone would take the time to help her that she got on tiptoes and kissed me on the cheek, and said, "You're really very sweet, thank you." She turned and grabbed her cart to head for the aforementioned taters. The produce manager came over to me and said, "Hey, want a job here?" No screaming Karen, but I figured that a nice story was due. Thanks for reading. Story 8. Happy birthday to me, I guess, the state of the sub. So some heavy news today. How can I lighten the mood? Music recommendations. It's almost 1 AM here and I'm desperately trying to get this out, so please excuse any formatting mistakes or half-formed thoughts. Recommended listening, World's Smallest Violin by AJR. I was going to give you a bit longer of a rundown of my life story here, but I'll give enough here to explain why it's just the cliff notes. The first thing I want to make clear is that I never asked nor expected to become the head mod of 3 subreddits with a combined total of 1.8 million subscribers. It just sort of happened one day as the moderators above me drifted away. I also originally had a more detailed breakdown of my medical story here, but it boils down to this. I've been nauseous every day for the last 2.5 years, culminating in not quite brain surgery 3 weeks ago. This leads up to Reddit making their third-party API changes clear the day before my birthday while I'm still suffering from splitting headaches from the aforementioned surgery. Fun. Recommended listening. Everybody wants to rule the world by Tears for Fears or Pompeii by Bastille. I was planning on writing something here myself, but you should really just go and read. Had a call with Reddit to discuss pricing. Bad news for third-party apps. Their announced pricing is close to Twitter's pricing, and Apollo would have to pay Reddit $20 million per year to keep running as is. By you/Iamthetis, the developer of Apollo. You should also read an open letter on the state of affairs regarding the API pricing and third-party apps and how that will impact moderators and communities. By you/BuckRowdy. Recommended listening. Let It Go by Edina Menzel. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, and I'm too drained to be sure of myself right now anyways, but Reddit killing off you/J Dawson's sync would take a lot of my enthusiasm with it. There's rumbling of other moderators leaving the site or setting subs to private or protected. There's a lot to consider, and it's almost 1 AM here. Recommended listening. Break My Stride by Matthew Wilder. I'll be publishing code on GitHub as Undarkado. I have a Discord library, a self-hosted wallpaper server, a rewrite of Minecraft Plus, and more. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom is a fantastic game that I've already sunk a ton of time into while I've been recovering from surgery. I've been slowing down on Destiny 2 and Hearthstone, but boy can they suck up time if you let them. Brandon Sanderson's Secret Project books have been fantastic so far. I need to finish the Alcatraz Smidry series, then figure out where to start with his Cosmera books. I'm probably due to revisit and fill in what I missed from Terry Pratchett's Discworld books. My favorite book of his is Night Watch. I completely forgot I'd bought the second book of Brandon Mull's Beyonders trilogy after r/Tipoff Matung helped me find it again. I'm looking forward to Season 2 of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds later this month. Because of You, Steven Sanchez. If You Could Read My Mind by Gordon Lightfoot. Labor, by Paris Paloma. I'll include other moderators' recommendations here as they respond to me. Story 9. Either early-set Alzheimer's or a stroke. Disclaimers: non-English speaker, not in the US. This happened about 3 years, but I saw the Karen again on TV today and it reminded of the incident. So, almost 3 years ago I was finishing work on site when my wife called me, asking for some groceries. You see, earlier that year we had made the crucial mistake of introducing our 4yo to fried zucchini balls sandwiches. My wife was working from home, daughter wanted them for dinner, but we were out of zucchini and mozzarella. On my way home, I made the mistake of stopping on the first market I found. It happened to be on an upscale neighborhood and a bit pricey, but needs must when your daughter calls. I was still on my working clothes, blue cargo pants, blue pole with the name of my company, which looked the pale green shirts of the employees, very close to the M&S uniform for UK readers. Also, it was just after the opening of the first quarantine, so it was Karen's in wild season. I was browsing the cheeses, they were out of mozzarella unfortunately, trying to make a crucial decision when the dreaded throat clearing. I thought I was in the way, so I moved a bit to the side and continued my browsing. Then again a throat clearing, followed by an "excuse me" and a tap on the shoulder. I turn around and come face to face with Karen. "Karen, I want you to get me these," and hands me a list and a basket. I took a look at the list, put in the basket, left the basket on the floor and said nope. Karen, surprised by my insolence, "Do you know who am I?" She was a Z-list celebrity making the rounds of gossip panels. "I can get you fired." "Me? First, I don't work here. Second, judging from your statement and the fact you couldn't recognize I'm not dressed as an employee, I have to say early-set Alzheimer's." The nurse in me decided to be snarky. Karen, starting to turn rage red, "Wha? WH? Me? Or," adding the face color and slurred speech, "it could be a stroke. You should check it with your doctor." I replied and walked away. As I was paying, I noticed her having a heated conversation with someone that I presume was a manager and pointing at me. I left them in the conversation and headed home to make sandwiches.